Red Wing regular school board meeting to order at 6 p.m. Present, we have board member Ossendorf, board member Buck, board member Bjornstedt, board member Schoenfelder, myself, the chair, and Superintendent Joshua. And we have two board members absent for various reasons, illness and other things, so I know one of them's following along, but will not be able to participate in the meeting because of this. So, welcome, everybody, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Get somebody tall over there. All right, we have the meeting agenda before us. Josh, Superintendent, is there anything you wish to change on the
No,
agenda?
no, the agenda should be as presented.
Any board members have anything they wish for the agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So,
Moved by Ms. Schoenfelder, second by
I'll second.
Ms. Ossendorf. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Does somebody want to read the mission statement? Anybody have that ready in front of them here? We can do that. We have the educational plan over on the board over here. And with Ms. Schoenfelder is going to read the mission statement.
The mission of the Red Wing Public Schools is to educate and inspire all students as they realize their full potential and become respectful, responsible, and productive citizens.
Thank you very much. Next thing is recognitions of upcoming events. Want to talk about River City Days?
So River City Days, this is an example of one of the banners that we did. We ended up with 6 of them in total. Over the course of 2 days, we had staff and students there on both sides of the table. We had some students who came and they participated. Really helpful. It was a lot of fun. We had a chance to kind of laugh and to visit with people, and it really, really went well. If it hadn't been quite as hot and steamy, it would have been a little bit easier, but Emily Seafeld did a phenomenal job of setting this up and as far as keeping things going, so hats off to Emily on this whole thing. But again, we had great support. I'd say roughly we got about between 300 and 350 handprints on our banners as we went through, and we didn't limit it strictly to kids who were in school. We've got somebody out here from the class of 1975, and we have a 1-year-old. So we went kind of all in between. The vast majority were student age, kids, but it was a lot of fun, and you get to see them and they're excited when they get their handprint. And so it really did go well. I think it was a worthwhile activity, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't look at doing something similar next year. Just a great opportunity.
I think it was a really nice opportunity for people in the community to interact with Bob and.
Oh, and that was all the staff. The great thing about that, they did, the staff members, they're there and Jen could say, hey, come on over here, Sally, and then away they would go. So it worked out real nice. It was a lot of fun.
I thank you for everybody that was there.
It's fun for kids to see their teachers and principals.
Yeah, like you said, it's a start, but it'll look like it'll grow every year. So thank you for everybody that worked it. Thanks for Emily for being one of the big person that pushed and had it organized, and Bob, everybody. Thank you. And it's great to get out in front of our community too, on a good note, and promote ourselves. So, anybody else have other recognitions of upcoming events? We haven't met. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add in for upcoming events that the candidacy is open to file to run for school board through Tuesday, August 13th. And it's at the district office. There's information on the district website.
Great. Glad you said that. We were going to talk about I'm glad you mentioned that. So, anything else coming up here? I'm just trying to wrap my head. We haven't met since the 15th of July. So It's been,
This week we're off with all of our activities, athletics, they all are on hold this week, I think, to start the season next week.
and they signed up online, and then they have some coaches meetings or something, don't
There's a
they?
meeting on Wednesday, I believe, this week for parents and participants for this fall.
And I think the other thing, I know Mr. Hartman sent out an email to staff, and we're out in the community, we want to get the community involved, there's openings for positions during activities, could be ticket taker, could be scorekeeper, could be this or that, so if you want to help out, be participating in any, sometimes one of our many activities, could be a choir concert, could be a basketball game, could be a band concert, could be anything. Want to help? Contact Mr. Hartman at the school, and I'll help you out there too. So, all right, anything else? Anybody there for public comment? Did you receive any emails for public comment?
No, I did not.
I did not either, nothing back there, so nobody here, okay, we'll move on. Administrative reports.
I'll get in this book and get lost every time.
I know.
Under 3, 4, 3.
Kind of covered part of it already.
Page 10.
I knew that's what I was looking for. So, River City Days, we got that taken care of, so that's in good shape. One thing that I've wondered about is if we could be, maybe look at some different options for how often and when we would hold our regular school board meetings. Is it fully necessary to have 2 in every month? Part of that is I realize that's a significant time commitment for everybody who's involved. It may make it easier for someone as a prospective board member to be able to participate if it was not quite as much. And we can set that up however we wish, but that is something that should not be changed until January when the board gets reset. So there's no right or wrong answer. I'd just like to have a discussion at that point to be able to think about maybe do that a little bit different. The data sharing MOUs, so we've got these in place here so far from the University of Minnesota, the Care Clinic, and CISO, that's the bus the bus scheduling company. We do have a few MOUs that we do not have signed at this point, and in part because they're asking for data that we cannot legally provide. So that's from Rise Up, because what they have asked for in the past has been basically for the students in which they work, they want real-time data to be able to go into our student information system and access that, and we cannot by law allow that to occur. So I've got a meeting on Thursday where we're going to see if there's any kind of potential workarounds, but they will not be having the same level of access that they have had in the past. There's a difference between asking for summative data. So, okay, we can look at, we've helped these kids, we saw that this was their cumulative GPA at the beginning. At the end here, this is their cumulative GPA now. That is an example of summative data, or cumulative data that can be utilized. Whereas having access to a kid's current grade in English is not something that's acceptable. So we continue to work through that. Mostly with Rise Up, we've got the Hispanic Outreach, a little bit of stuff with there too, but I believe we're a little closer on perhaps getting that one solved. So we're trying to find a solution. If not, there's going to have to be a change in their access to our student body. Yes.
Is there a world where the students who are involved in Rise Up could do a printout of their grades and then they share? Is that, or is that still
It's up to them.
Right.
It's up to them what they share with
with,
Rise Up.
right.
But we are not going to allow Rise Up direct access to that information.
So like not
So-
being able to go into Synergy
No.
and look up their students' grades?
Because there's no way in there to keep the identifying information out,
Right.
including their student ID number or whatever other information that's in there. So There may be there's gonna probably be some changes in how they do things, or they just might not be able to access things the way they have. So continuing to work on that. I don't have a definitive answer on that, but it's something that we're working on, and it's been very helpful as we've been going through these things. Oops. The building, the programming updates here, so those are things that you can kind of see for yourselves. I don't have anything specific to add to those. Jen, do you have anything that you'd like to add from your side?
I don't think so, not right now. Carpet was great.
Yeah, so the carpet is in, that's all been taken care of, they've got it pretty well cleaned up there now, right?
Correct. Our building will be open for teachers to start coming in next week.
Okay, and then one of the main things that's going on in Twin Bluff is we're getting the fax room remodel done in there. So Patrick and Alan have been working that out, and along with Lisa and myself, we've met a number of times. It's gonna be a real tight sprint to the finish here before we can have that ready. It may necessitate having to maybe start those classes for a week or two someplace else. We're hoping not, but we told the teachers to plan accordingly because it could happen. So that'll be nice to get that taken care of. We still have a few hires that have to get taken care of. We've got a couple of math positions that are open, along with the science position, and I think 2 special ed positions, 2 or 1. So we've got some work that we're gonna do there, and then probably the good news of the week here is what we did hear back from the Department of Ed on Tower View, not in its final form yet, we're still waiting on that, but Emily has submitted the updated version of that, and it was only a couple
It was
things.
just minimal changes, it was just a few sentences we had to like clarify, so we're hoping we'll hear really soon.
So once we get that taken care of, then we can start enrolling those kids into those programs, because right now we don't have a school number to be able to do that. So we're hopeful that we can get that done here pretty quick. But it sounds as though people are excited to have Tower View under our purview again. So I think that's a real plus. And the other thing that I have noticed is just, there's people coming in on a daily basis. They're asking questions about Red Wing, about enrollment. Some of them are students that may be taking classes online recently, and they're coming back wanting to be back in-house. So all of those things, they seem to bode well. So that's the primary things that are going on right now. Linda Johnson is very busy with enrollments, because as people enroll, there's documentation that's required, so she's following up with them, but she's doing a nice job with that. But that's a very, very large task this time of year.
Especially August, yes.
Yeah.
Can you do an update maybe on Caldwell, like the preschool programming, since everything has been decimated in this town and all that's left is really the public school district preschool, like how we're doing, do we have a big wait list, have we added classes, or how many classes do we have?
So it's full. I know there's a wait list. Beyond that, I guess I don't have any specific detail there, because I haven't learned entirely about that program yet. I just know that it's full. And I recognize the fact that our preschools have been really pounded. So it makes it a real challenge for people. The other thing is, the more kids that we can have receiving preschool services, when they get to kindergarten, they're just that much more able to roll into kindergarten. And, if you've got half of them that have some sort of preschool, well, then they can kind of help bring along the rest into the fold. If we're at 25%, it's just that much more difficult. So preschool is a big deal, and it's a big issue for families. So don't have any specific solutions there, but I do know that it's full.
Thanks.
On that, just a question, is there any room in any of our buildings if we wanted to put some of the waiting list in another building or two?
So that's something that I thought of, but I haven't fleshed out yet, just because we haven't had the chance to really see. For me, it's gonna be very informative once we get everybody back in the building, we get kids in the building and staff, and then we can kind of see if or where we may have some additional space. So anyway, that's
Okay.
kind of where we
So you're
sit.
gonna have your work cut out, you have to go from one building to 5 or so.
It's okay. It's a lot of fun because every building that I've been in, every single one, I have found really good people who are very, very helpful and are willing to do what's best for our students. So I'm confident that that's gonna be just fine.
We want every kid that wants to come to school here, get a great education.
Yep, and it was nice today, you know, there was a gal that came in and she had a bunch of questions and, between myself and Emily, we were able to answer those and now she's got some more things to think about. Good, so that's good.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions for Superintendent? Okay, we'll go on to committee reports or updates. You have,
LMC,
Yeah.
you were part of that too, I think.
I got there a little bit late.
I guess the only thing is they were getting bids back for the health insurance costs for staff and they're not,
We're gonna meet with a couple of providers, to have discussions. Let's leave
they're
it at
not
that.
beautiful though.
Let's just leave it at that. And there's
Everything's
another meeting,
expensive.
will you be able to make that meeting on the 20th? So they don't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves here, so.
I do like that you're on it though.
I do too. It
You
makes
bring,
sense.
you bring an expertise that, you know, the rest of us can't bring to that. So I really appreciate you being on that committee.
I do too.
And I appreciate you being on finance.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay, any other committee? Okay, consent agenda. Anybody wish to have anything pulled for discussion of 1 through 6 we have? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda for this today?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Moved by Ms. Bjornstad, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Schoenfelder. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have donations and grants. We have one grant, or one donation, excuse me. Superintendent, Dasher.
Trying to see what I'm at.
This looks funny in the packet, so I'm wondering if what is in the packet is what it actually is.
Pencils? Oh, no,
Yeah, because
that's
it
right.
also has the vote on there, like it's from the minutes, but I don't know if it.
Oh,
Wow,
that's weird.
That's the one.
it's already got our votes on
Our
there.
votes
Yeah,
already
that
written.
shouldn't be.
No name is somebody else, it was added by mistake. So,
Okay, so anyway, there was an odd number, 1,296 pencils, just seemed a little specific. I don't know if they broke 4 or what the deal was, but, anyway, the value of those was $434.77, and I would recommend that we approve that donation.
American Legion Post 54, thank you.
As a former middle school teacher who really appreciates the value of those pencils, I move that we adopt or accept the donation.
I second that.
So motion by Ms. Bjornstad, second by Ms. Schoenfelder, roll call vote based upon the resolution. Ms. Schoenfelder,
Aye.
Ms. Bjornstad,
Aye.
Ms. Ossendorf,
Aye.
Ms. Buck,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Final reading, we have a bunch of policies coming up here. So reading non-discrimination notice and policies.
So on these, review this in the workshop, so these are policies that contain specific administrator names that have to be included in these policies. So this is an update to those policies, or to the non-discrimination notice, as well as the policies that are impacted. My recommendation that we approve this.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve them as presented.
motion by Ms. Ossendorf, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Schoenfelder. Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Read policies, 3-year review policies with no changes.
So on here, there are 3 policies that were under review: the immunization form, the pledge of allegiance, and the children and youth transition. So with that, The only change that we have there is to the Pledge of Allegiance, in which we were, instead of having a specific day on one time, it was going to be held, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance on a weekly basis. So that does not require a change at this point.
Okay,
Okay? So no action is required for this.
no action, okay. To review policies with MSBA recommended changes.
So policy 422, 423, and 530. So these are policies where we have recommendations from MSBA to update those. 422 is basically it's kind of the reference guide, it's the index, if you will. 423, employee-student relationships, and 530, the immunization requirements. So it's my recommendation that we approve those policies at the recommendation of MSBA.
Approve the request.
I'll make a motion to approve them as presented.
Motion by Ms. Osendorf, is there a second?
A second.
Second by Ms. Bjornsted. Any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. This next one, legislative session updates to policies.
So on this one, there are a ton of policies here that, because of the changes in the legislative session last spring, that needed to be updated. There's actually 32 policies that have some sort of change. The primary ones are the ones that have, their changes to the statute is the main piece there. So rather than a list, they're all listed within board book here. We've gone through each of those policies, we've reviewed them, they match up with what we should have here. And because they are the result of a legislative change, they only require one meeting in order to provide those updates. So my recommendation that we approve the 32 policies that are included in the board book.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the policies as presented.
Ms. Osendorf moved to approve the policies. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Schoenfelder. Any questions or comments? It's all done as a result of the last legislative action, so. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. MSBA post-hiring workshop.
So I spoke with Barb Dorn after our meeting that we had in July, and she said that she was gonna actually be reaching out to the board chairs as well as the new superintendents to set those meetings up. She said, but if you guys wanna go ahead and select a date or two as possibilities, she would get us on her calendar. So if we have some dates that you would like to look at, I don't have a specific recommendation, but in October or November would be what we're looking at.
Anybody have anything on the first and third Monday of October and November? That would conflict? If not, I would just, if we do, we don't, I suggest we offer all 4 days to her.
So the regular board meeting dates, and would you like to start at like 4 PM that day, or in order to,
I think 4 is good. Good idea.
so on that, we don't need any, there's no action, there's no motion that's required for that. You would just direct me to,
If the consensus of the board members here this evening wish to just give her 4 dates to, that way we can fit it into our schedule.
You're saying October?
October, November,
The 2 October and the 2 November.
Oh, the regular board meeting dates.
Is regular, because it'll
in
be our
case she has any
workshop.
conflicts on the 2 days we give her 4, then. Is that okay? Everybody
Did she
okay
say
with
how
it?
long that?
Is it 7
no
and
more than 2
14?
hours.
Or
7 and
4?
21?
That's our board meetings, right?
What's that?
In
7 and
October,
21.
7 and 21.
Yep, in October. If nobody is opposed to that, we'll have superintendent contact Ms. Dorn. Okay? Approve the 2024-25 student handbook.
Okay, Ann Robertson has been working on the handbook, and she'll be able to present and go through any changes to the handbook. We've reviewed these. She was really good about coming to me and asking questions when I have something, and she's very up to speed on this. So
I'm Ann Robertson, Communications Manager. Thanks for allowing us to go through the handbook. There's so many changes that we did not give you a red line version because of all these 32 statute changes did affect our student handbook so I thought I'd just go over a couple key ones that people would like to maybe be aware of. We did on our own include a welcome message from Superintendent Joshik, and we also added the vision and mission statements just to try get those. Those are on page 6. We also streamlined listings for the non-discrimination policies. We used to have a pretty lengthy description of each one of those, and it was basically the way they're worded now. It's very clear. If something is anti-harassment and bullying, we don't need to explain that it's anti-harassment and bullying. So just notes that on page 14, we did add some language about smudging. We've allowed that for quite a long time at Red Wing Public Schools, but we added that to make it clear that it needs to be supervised, and each building leader will take care of ensuring that that's handled properly at each building. We also, for the community, we have broader communication options for school closures, late starts, and flexible learning days. Primarily, we have so many television stations today, we just decided to go with the 3. We will start putting those on the ABC, CBS, and NBC. So that would be 4, 5, and 11. So we'll let people know, because grandpa and grandmas don't necessarily always get that, but they might be having the kids that day, or they also just like to know that my school is closed today. So that's in direct response. So also, one of the biggest things is this detailed student records directory information. We had to add some pretty extensive language because of that, and you already talked a little bit about that with the MOUs, but that also starts on page 14. And then just a few other little things. We made sure that we have the assessments notification as required. That's something that we didn't have to do before. We let people know that they could not participate in assessments, but we now have an appendix on there at the back of the handbook that lets people know a few more details, and that is a legal requirement that we have to do. I know the board has had an issue for a long time about why do we encourage students to not take the MCA tests, that kind of stuff. Well, now we have to not just notify them, but we had to include more information in the student handbook about that. And then cell phone policy, that's going to be going to welcome a lot of community input on that in the coming months as we work to try have that implemented for second semester. Any changes to that? The tobacco policy on page 24, we added specifically the electronic delivery of devices, vaping namely, but we kept it just to the, so that was a new addition because technically we didn't have that before. And then one of the neat things that we've been working on with Jess Pena, our Director of Nutrition Services, really getting the word out that there's application for educational benefits. It's not about free and reduced meals anymore because we serve breakfast and lunch to our students. It's about additional educational benefits that families, even if they think, oh, I didn't need that, I didn't qualify. This is really, we put a lot more language and to let people know that why they should do it, because their kids can have many ways to benefit, and our district benefits too. For instance, our summer meal program that's very popular, that really hinges on if we have enough people who complete that application during the school year. So, and then also because of the Prairie Island Nuclear Plant and our our crisis management system, we've really updated that a lot. And we talked to folks about it earlier, but we are going with that standard response protocol. So we've incorporated that into the handbook also. And our new badges will be having that on the back, and we'll be having notifications on how that all works. And we're going to get out the word, but now it is in the handbook, and there's a full page in there that shows, it's the first piece in the appendix that explains about those things. So, so once the general handbook, yes, Nikki.
Can I make a comment about that?
Yes,
Because down on Prairie Island, we have training with the nuclear power plant and things like that. that. And so because we are a checkerboard system down there, for anybody that doesn't know that, is that Prairie Island, their land butts up with personal homeowners and then county and city. So we're not like a flush land, we have just pieces here and here and here. And so, because we do have a lot of non-tribal members that live on Prairie Island, we have opened it up for the public to be able to join in on these trainings, just in case. I don't know, because of this policy, that maybe we might want to inquire, this could be a tribal council question too, when you meet with them, about maybe even just sending a couple of our staff or our admin just to see what the training's about. You know what I mean? Because if we're having students fill these things out, not all of them know why, right? And so, just to be very transparent, and if we're posting something, you know, it would be nice just to let our partners and everybody in on that, so. Just maybe kind of ask tribal council about that in the future when you make that meeting about that training.
Okay. So that basically is a summary that, if there's any corrections or changes to the student handbook, please
Any other questions?
let them know. I
Any
think we,
questions?
I've tried
I
to,
have one.
yes.
We picked 3 of the 4 major news stations out of the metro. Is there any reason why we didn't pick Fox 9?
Oh, I just was going by the alphabet.
I like Fox, I'm sorry.
No, that's
Nothing against the other one.
I think that should be added.
Yep, we can
Yeah.
add that.
No.
That's
Because it
no
runs
problem.
more local, and when the other ones break into the national news, it's always
That's
really more
fine.
local. Yeah.
That's fine. But we can do those
And
4.
then maybe there was.
No,
maybe
mm-mm.
there was
No,
other costs.
no.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Because when she said it, and she went through it, oh, wait, this one.
yeah, we did. So,
And he's
yep,
just new to the area.
I can easily do that. So,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Are there any other questions at all? We need to approve the handbook this evening, if you wish. Is there a motion to approve the 2024-25 student and parent handbook?
I'll motion to move it.
Moved by Ms. Buck. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ossendorf. Any other questions or discussion?
You know why I'm moving it, right?
Of course.
Because we just made history here. Smudging is now, and this is what everybody from Prairie Island especially has asked about. So we're making history here, and that is why I'm moving
All
it.
right, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Ann. 2024-25 restrictive procedures plan.
So what this is there are certain instances in which a child may need to be restrained. What this does is it's a very prescribed plan on how this is to be carried out, how it's to be documented, what the limitations are on this. And it deals primarily with special education students or people with special needs. It's something that we need to update on an annual basis, so my recommendation that we approve the restricted procedures plan as presented.
Yes,
Make a motion to approve the procedure that's presented.
motion by Ms. Ossendorf. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Schoenfelder. Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Superintendent report.
All right, so been very busy with a lot of really great things. We've talked about a few of those things already. I've had the opportunity to meet more and more people almost on a daily basis, and as names start to stick, that makes things a little bit easier. So sometimes they're political figures, sometimes they're business people, sometimes they're parents and kids, and it's all been really beneficial. Everybody that I've met has been very willing to assist me and to just provide a lending hand whenever I need something. I wrote an article that will be going into the Red Wing Republican Eagle regarding just the beginning of looking at a cell phone policy coming up. So we've got to get that in place by March 15th. We want to engage students, we want to engage community members, staff members. We're not going to receive or achieve 100% consensus on something. That's a given here. But what we want to do is create something that just makes the best possible learning atmosphere for our kids and helps take away some of the pressures that are just inherent with technology. So that's just something that we've got to continue to work on. So it's going to be a big task, but I'm confident that we'll be able to end up with something that we're going to be satisfied with when we're done. Tomorrow, I will be at a Minnesota Association of Secondary or School Administrators Conference. And then on Thursday, there's a number of staff members that are going up to the Kennedy Graven Law Conference up in Minneapolis, so we'll be attending that. I've visited with the principals a little bit about the cell phones and the policies and how that's gonna look. So we've got, that's a concern. Something else that we've talked about primarily with the high school level, but vaping is a very real problem within our school district. And no easy solutions to this, but it's something that we're gonna have to work hard on trying to get our hands around this. And being able, again, to create a better atmosphere for our students. So that also is gonna be a long process that's gonna take a lot of work. I've got a couple of ideas that we'll see how they pan out, and I'll share those with you as they come out. I hate to throw something out that's not even half baked, so I want to be careful about that. We have there's a powwow on, is it September 13th? Is that the date, Emily?
Saturday the 14th.
Saturday the 14th. So there's a powwow that will be here on school grounds. We're also going to have an education day that's going to be available to us on the 13th. There's a lot of details that got to be worked out with that, but it is something that we're moving forward with, and that should also be very interesting and a very fun day. So we're working on those things. So I guess that's the primary stuff that I've been working on. So we'll just, right now, it's just gonna be real busy as we get going until the end of summer and get kids in class and teachers here and moving forward from there, so.
Any questions or anything? I'll just add, I'm really encouraged by the cell phone policy that we need. And we need parents to really be on board to know anytime your cell phone goes off or your child's cell phone goes off, what happens? They focus on that. They lose everything else, concentration, everything else around them. So having a cell phone in class, texting your kid about this or that, or they're going with buddies or friends, that takes away from the educational experience. So we want them to have the best educational experience for them and everybody around them too. So this is why, one of the reasons why we're really looking at strengthening our current cell phone policy, and because the state law mandated that we have to by the March of 2025, but we need parents to help us on this because you're the ones around your child more than we are. At the end of the day, our job, this task is to try to educate them, and we want them to be the best prepared as possible. And unfortunately, many times, cell phones can be a distraction, even though there's a lot of good things about it.
Right, so it's a balance, and that's why we want to engage as many people as we possibly can in crafting this.
Okay. And one last thing, Ms. Ossendorf hit on it. School board filing for Red Wing School District is between now and 5 p.m. on the 13th of August. There are 4 positions open. Encourage people to consider it. Come up to the district office and throw down your 200 pennies and sign up.
And if anybody has any questions about what it looks like to be a school board member or whatever, I encourage them to stop in and see me. I'd be happy to as well.
Call or set up appointment or stop in and see our new superintendent, who's been very, very busy. A lot of good things. I'm hearing a lot of nice things around. And we've been drinking out of the fire hose for the last 5 weeks. It's been good. And I really like the handprints and the booth at the River City Days. Thanks again to everybody that attended it, also worked it. And I think we can grow in that, because this is a school needs a community support in the background. And we need your help as much as I think you need our students. Anything further?
Upcoming meetings and future topics, our next meeting is August 19th, 5 PM workshop with the 6 o'clock school board meeting. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if there's nothing further. We will just stay here, we can just stay here then.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hoffman, second by Ms. Buck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Do you have an agenda meeting tomorrow?
Wednesday.
So I don't need to come on.